Road Dogg gets into so much junk. I think it's time to start making a Road Dogg playlist. I think I'm gonna have to do a Road Dogg playlist, man, because Road Dogg keeps stepping in it. This time it's probably his biggest mistake thus far. He went after Bret Hart. And you know what? Road Dogg. Road Dogg, Road Dogg. What are you thinking? What were you thinking? And of course, he got roasted. But before we get to the peanut gallery, let's see what Road Dogg had to say. Oh boy. He said on his podcast, giving him wrestlers podcast is really such a bad idea. It's almost as bad as giving him a Twitter account. Road Dogg says, I never saw what the big deal was with Bret Hart as a performer. I never understood it. He was a great worker. And I thought about saying good, but he was a great worker. He worked better than me, tenfold. Worked circles around me. Don't ever think that I've told anybody I was a good wrestler, because I haven't. And if you listen to my podcast, you know that's true. I don't think I was a good wrestler. I don't think Bret was a great wrestler. I think I was a better sports entertainer than Bret was. And I think that's where the money is. So I always thought that he should have done business and done what was right. You know what I mean? But I never looked at him like, if we lose this guy, we lost the war. I never thought that for one moment. Now I can understand people who are going to be huge Bret Hart fans saying, screw you, Road Dogg, you suck. Okay, screw me and I suck. Okay, like now what? We still get to my feelings, which is I never thought he was that great to begin with, so it wasn't that great of a loss when we lost him for me. That's professionally, really, not personally, because I didn't have any personal feelings about it one way or the other. I just didn't think we were sunk because he left. I thought we got a lot more to offer than that. I didn't think we were sunk. I thought now we can catch our breath and move forward. And he says, I apologize, but I want everybody to understand I didn't dislike Bret Hart. I just don't think he's that great of a wrestler, and I'm sorry if that hurts anybody's feelings. His especially, because I'm not trying to do that. I always thought Shawn was the better sports entertainer, and I still believe that to this day. I mean, that's controversial to some, but I don't know why. It's how I feel. You know what I mean? I don't know why my feelings are so controversial. You know what I mean? The person who has the opposite side of the argument, you're allowed to have that side. One of my great friends was a huge Bret Hart fan, and yet I'm not going to tell him Bret sucks. You know what I mean? I'm not going to tell him I don't like Bret. He loves Bret. I'm just saying, cool, love Bret. But you're asking me about my feelings, and they're asking me questions about how I perceive things. I told the truth, and I will do it again. I agree that if you think he's on that side of great wrestlers, okay. I'm not going to debate that, because he really is a great wrestler. But where I draw the line is there ain't a dime in wrestling, and that's how I feel. We're going to get a lot of questions and comments about this just because of the stuff I said about Bret. Again, I don't dislike the guy. I respect him a lot. I have a ton of respect for him and his whole family, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. We have a difference of opinion when it comes to professional wrestling. I say there isn't a dime in wrestling, and that's a lie. There's money in wrestling. I just feel there's more money in sports entertainment. And that's why I think the way that I think. Road Dogg Jesse James, whose daddy is Bullet Bob Armstrong. So you're talking about two wrestling families here. Two wrestling families, Bret Hart and the Road Dogg. Road Dogg was probably the worst wrestler in his entire family. That's no bullshit either. He's probably the worst wrestler in his entire family. But Bret's the best in his. So, it's obviously two different styles. The Southern pro wrestling did not have a heavy, some of it in parts of the NWA territories had a focus on the grappling arts aspect of pro wrestling, but a lot of it was Southern slugfest. You know, you punch a guy, kick a guy, he bleeds all over the place. Sort of that Memphis shit. You know, a lot of that stuff is really what drew in the South. while up in Calgary, they kind of did some of the grappling arts, you know, some high flying stuff. Not as much as we see today, not any luchador shit, but kind of a faster world of sport style. The kind of stuff that Bret Hart kind of grew up doing with the Dynamite Kid. I see where Road Dogg is coming from. I understand what he's trying to say. He's trying to say Bret didn't have much of a personality, and that he feels that, you know, it didn't matter that much, considering the company was trying to grow and change its identity and become more of an attitude era where Bret didn't really have an attitude. Now, I don't agree with this. You know, I think that Bret heel turn in 96 and 97 would have been great. And he would have been able to do so much in 98 by being sort of the moral center, the Hank Hill of WWE. He would have been fantastic in that role. You know, I believe it. As Bret being the moral center of the company, surrounded by bandits like Stone Cold Steve Austin, degenerates like Shawn Michaels and Triple H, and other assorted weirdos like Goldust. And Bret Hart is kind of the old guy that sits there and, you know, in his rocking chair and talks about all these freaks and weirdos that are surrounding him and standing up for like traditional values and stuff like that. Would have been great, you know. But we didn't get that far. So Road Dogg talking shit about Bret Hart in any capacity is going to get his head lopped off in every comment section ever. But this was the most unique experience I've ever come across, in so much that Cage Side Seats wrote an article. A list of things we think Road Dogg is better at than Bret Hart. While discussing the Montreal Screwjob, Road Dogg said he thinks he's a better sports entertainer than the Hitman. That's just his opinion. Here's ours. And then they did a write-up on basically a transcript of what he said. And then here's their list. He says, honestly, I don't know if anything Road Dogg ever did makes me laugh harder to this day than the El Dandy is a jam-up guy interview. In the spirit of finding common ground, here's a list of things we think Road Dogg is better at than Bret Hart. 1, introductions. 2, sucking up to Shawn Michaels and Triple H. That's all. So they wrote an entire article. just to dump on Road Dogg. Oh my, oh me, oh my, I mean, are you serious, man? You really sat down and wrote this shit? Like, you that upset? You that gotten to? Oh boy. They wrote an article of a list of things. Whew, that was great. That was fucking great. Now we can go into people roasting Road Dogg, and it's going to be so much funny when Bret Hart comes back. It's going to be great when Bret returns. I'm telling you, it's going to be goddamn cool, because Bret's going to return fire and absolutely probably just destroy Road Dogg and show that he actually can destroy people with promos, because he's definitely going to cut a hell of a promo on Road Dogg eventually, and it's going to be funny as hell. But let's get into the comment sections of some of these things, man, because you already know that's where the funny is. That's where the real sports entertainment is. The real sports entertainment is in the comment section to these videos, as people wake up and open their eyes and actually start paying attention to what things are saying. It says, full stop, Hart no, Road Dogg, you wrote way too much. And I stopped reading after the third paragraph. Bret is a better sports entertainer than you, sir. Oh, you didn't know? Somebody says, quote, I don't think Bret was a great wrestler. I stopped reading. Somebody comment says, later on he says, I agree that if you think he's on the side of great wrestlers, okay. I'm not really going to debate with it, because he really is a great wrestler. It's just a Road Dogg rant. He says one thing, then 20 seconds later he takes it back. Well, you know what? It actually is this way. Road Dogg is just a piece of work. Jesus Christ. All right, so here's a long one. But I never looked at him like, if we lose this guy, we lose the war. That's a quote from Road Dogg. He said, that's a bad take, because people looked at Austin and thought the same thing. But Vince and company made something of him after the lackluster ringmaster gimmick. Bret was undeniably in the top 3 of WWE at the time he left. WWE was already on the ropes. Without Bret, there's no double turn with Austin and no laying the foundation of Mr. McMahon. Bret wasn't flashy, but his abilities as an entertainer can't be dismissed. Had he been used properly in WCW, they lose the war. Backstage BS and poor creative stifled what could have been a monumental moment in the timeline of the business. The confusing part of this, Road Dogg says Bret was a great worker, but not a great wrestler, and Shawn was a better sports entertainer. I won't disagree about Shawn, but what's the difference between a worker and a wrestler if there is also a difference between them and a sports entertainer? Okay, I don't want to get into the worker-wrestler distinction, but wrestling is the actual active grappling part of the business. Working is getting people to believe that you are what you are doing and that what you're doing is legitimate. That is working the audience. Now, sports entertainment is just what Vince calls wrestling. That's really all it is. Sports entertainment is a bigger package. It's not too much of a focus on the grappling arts, on the moves. It's a focus on character work, microphone work, that kind of stuff. You can work people with the microphone. Bret was really good at that. He wasn't a great promo, but he was great at getting people to believe in what he was saying. That's what the anti-Canada Bret Hart stuff was all about. People believed that Bret Hart believed the shit that he was saying because it came across like Bret Hart believed it, and the way he spoke. He didn't need to use flashy words. He didn't need to use, catchphrases, even though he had one. It was all about getting people to buy into what he was saying. That's work. And he was very good at it. But sports entertainment, the flashiness, everything all the way around. Okay. Yeah. I can see. You want to say Shawn Michaels is a better sports entertainer than Bret Hart? Okay, sure. You want to say Road Dogg is a better sports entertainer than Bret the Hitman Hart? Brother, I don't want to have that conversation. That's not a conversation I want to have. That's not one I'm itching to really undertake because I don't rate Road Dogg at all. I couldn't tell you a Road Dogg match. I couldn't tell you too much about Road Dogg at all. And I watched all of the Attitude Era. I lived through it. I tell you, Road Dogg was a huge part of the success of DX. He was. But that's just one aspect of the business that has multiple aspects to it. The character work and the promo work is only one aspect of the business. Eventually you do have to get in there and be a good worker, a good wrestler rather. That's another good aspect to it. You gotta put on believable matches, and I don't think Road Dogg did that. Here's another comment. That time WWE strapped the world title on Road Dogg because he was the best performer there is, the best performer there was ever, and the best performer there ever will be. That didn't happen, which is the part of the joke. Says Bret was an actual wrestler who made watching arm wrestling believable. I guess it says wrestling, ERM, Jesus. His promos in 97 with the Hart Foundation were top notch. Road Dogg was a clown that no one wanted to see wrestle ever. Ooh, oh boy. Billy Gunn is greater than Road Dogg. Oh boy, now we're doing that again. Look, Billy Gunn wasn't shit before he met Road Dogg, okay? He was in the Smoking Guns. He was rockabilly. You wouldn't even be talking about Billy Gunn today if it wasn't for Road Dogg. Let's just be honest. I mean, no disrespect to Road Dogg, because what he did well. But he can't hold a candle to Bret in any capacity. Road Dogg has never drawn a one dime or put one ass in a seat on his own. No one ever went to a show to see Road Dogg or left a show talking about him. Never. This is as ridiculous a comment as I have ever heard. And you know what? It ain't untrue. This is in no way untrue. I think he probably sold some t-shirts. I definitely believe people sold t-shirts for DX and the New Age Outlaws. Maybe. I can buy into maybe they sold some t-shirts. But did anybody ever buy a ticket to go, oh, you didn't know? Probably not. They just did it because they were there already. Drugs are bad, okay? Clearly. Oh, here we go. Another one. Road Dogg thinking he's hurting someone's feelings. Just the fact anything that dumb needs to come out of his mouth makes everything he says completely irrelevant. Bret was great in the ring. On the mic, he accomplished what he needed for him to be a performer. He was a guy you'd pay to go see. But did he take himself too seriously at times? Sure. But many of the great ones do. Steve Austin and Brock Lesnar have also been performers who, like Bret, try to protect their image. In the grand scheme of things, if you take pen and paper and list out the greatest wrestlers of all time, Road Dogg isn't even close to Bret in any subjective criteria. Conversation to be had. Ooh. Everyone in the clique, quote unquote, thinks this. They are 100% wrong. When Bret was a babyface, he was exactly what he needed to be promo-wise. When he turned heel, Bret sports entertained as good as anybody. Bret is one of the greatest of all time, wrestling and sports entertaining wise. Triple H gives him a job after he begged TK for one, and now he's out here gobbling DX knob like a ring rat in 1997. Ooh boy. Ooh boy. Don't do drugs, kids. He say the boy Sonny. He talking about Billy Boy. Oh God. He say the boy Sonny. That's bad. Okay. Road Dogg is a clown. Clearly he's bitter over something. I don't think WWF was in trouble when Bret left. Rock and Austin were clearly the guys on the come up, and DX was white hot. WWE was always going to win because they had Rock and Austin and DX and a bunch of other great characters and wrestlers. WWE could have made the fight much more interesting with Bret if they had utilized him properly. Bret was the biggest star in the company at the time he left WWF. You could argue Shawn, but Shawn had his detractors. Bret love was pretty universal. WWF won the war with fresh faces and new talent, and that will win the next war. Bret was an incredible wrestler and storyteller. Oh boy. This is, the sky is blue, the grass is green, holds true for a majority of Billy Gunn's statements. BG's? I'm guessing, I forgot BG James, okay. The sky is blue, the grass is green holds true for a majority of BG's statement. However, the Canadian hero Bret Hart Foundation stuff was extremely entertaining and honestly, the best Bret. Let's continue. Let's see what more we got here. People are just very upset at Road Dogg, and he earned it on this one. I'm not going to defend him. Bret was a phenomenal wrestler, maybe the best to ever lace up a pair of boots. He wasn't the best entertainer, though. He took himself way too seriously and rarely could cut a promo better than half decent. I think Bret cut pretty good promos, actually. I think he's underrated on promos. I mean, people talk like Bret Hart, was tongue-tied all the time. It's like it just lacked. He always had passion. He was always believable. He always had fire. When he needed to fire up, he did. He sounded stern when he needed to. He just was not flashy in his promos. It was blue-collar promos that people could really understand. And it was about bigging up Bret Hart and bigging up the match. It came across like an old fighter. He was a guy going in there to have a fight, going in there to have a match, a competitive he wasn't a stand-up comedian like The Rock or anything like that. Or he wasn't going to go out there and clown like Shawn. It's just a different style. These HBK clowns think they won the Attitude War. Fact is, in WWE, they had no impact. HBK was injured and retired. Triple H was a mid-carder, and on the other side, Nash had creative control in WCW, which was the company that died. Did WWE stop drug testing their employees? I guarantee you Road Dogg gets drug tested. Bret was better than Road Dogg in every respect. Bret carried himself well and had a great aura. He was old school and bare bones, and that was refreshing. Bret was also good on the mic. I like Road Dogg, and he was great. But Hitman was really better, even for a technical wrestler. Some of this stuff is running together. Here's somebody else quoting Road Dogg. He was a great worker. I don't think Bret was a great wrestler. He worked better than me. Tenfold work circles around me. Huh? Ladies and gentlemen, say no to drugs. Otherwise, you may end up with the same fractured mindset of Brian James, who is a respected multi-time world champion with a laundry list of 5-star matches in his career. Oh, wait. Come on, man. We gotta stop using that against Road Dogg, all right? You gotta stop using that, he wasn't world champion or anything like that against him. I mean, come on. He liked to snort too much. That was just his thing. This is weird. I think Road Dogg would have gotten a lot more in the business had he not had his demons. Part of the original reasoning for going with Bret as a top guy was that he was very dependable. In the end, Bret was and is the far bigger draw. And I think it goes to say that Bret was also a big draw internationally, not just in Canada, but generally in Europe too. He was a pretty big draw, which is why he was in the main event of SummerSlam 92. And whenever WWF was having problems, they would just go overseas with Bret on top. And that would, generally speaking, do pretty well. Bret was a better draw than people are willing to give him credit for. He wasn't Steve Austin, he wasn't The Rock, but he did better than people are willing to give him credit for. And that's usually the case. Is sometimes guy is a draw, but he's not, he's not John Cena or anything like that. He's not going to be your top merchandise seller for 6 years straight or some shit. Guy is good on top. And that's the superstar Billy Graham thing, where the guy sold out everywhere he went, but he was champion for a short amount of time because politics, So sometimes a guy may get shortchanged, where they'll say, well, he wasn't a draw or whatever. But in reality, he did fine, The only person who, there were some people who legitimately were not doing well as champion, Nash. But other people, they did okay. The best you can hope for is that the person who has the title does not drop things, from the person they got it from. That would be the hope. And I think Shawn Michaels might have been one of the few times where guys got the belt and things went downward. But also, Bret left. Bret left for 6 months. And then Shawn kind of fucked up the whole thing with Vader. So that didn't really help matters at all. And then, of course, the storyline they put him in was with Bulldog, who, Bulldog is Bulldog. I mean, come on. Let's see. All the loudmouth junkies in my city wiggle their arms around and scream nonsensical gibberish too. Maybe Triple H can hire them. Oh my God. Why would you? Why would you say that? Why would you say that? Come on. Don't say stuff like that about people, man. You gotta be respectful. Try to be somewhat respectful. He said Road Dogg was the Mario Chalmers of DX. Please be quiet. I want to know who the hell Mario Chalmers is. I don't know. Since I don't know who Mario Chalmers is, I can't laugh at that. Maybe y'all probably think that's funny, but whatever. I don't know. Road Dogg without DX, Jeff Jarrett, Billy, and maybe Chuck, Truth, etc. And it's the washed guy. The Click run the WWE, and this is the sort of shit we're going to have to put up with. Vince should have left the keys of the kingdom to Jeff Jarrett. Oh, God, that would have been something, wouldn't it? Bret wasn't a great wrestler. Well, there it is. The stupidest fucking thing I read all day. Ooh, boy. At no point in the history of humanity has anyone showed up to an event with the sole purpose of seeing Road Dogg. That guy is corny as shit. Sports entertainment is the worst phrase on earth when used as something separate from pro wrestling. But they're all talking about pro wrestling. What the fuck you think he's talking about? I don't know. Somebody says, in case anyone is confused, here is a list of every Hart that is actually a better wrestler than Road Dogg. And it's literally a Wikipedia article with everyone with the name Hart. I mean, come on. I wouldn't go this far. Come on, man. These people are rude and fucked up. Please, if it wasn't for your dad, you wouldn't have even made it to WWE. And if it weren't for riding Triple H HBK China's coattail, you wouldn't have lasted as long as you did. Oh, you know what? I think that his daddy being who it is an underrated aspect of Road Dogg's career. A lot of people don't really notice that, he was the baby boy of Bullet Bob, Vince liked wrestling families. Vince likes nepotism. You know, I mean, he does. He hired pretty much all the fucking Harts, you know, for no reason. Some of them he hired right out of high school, like fucking TJ and, what's the name, I think? TJ and Teddy, they're right out of high school, I think. He gave them jobs right out of high school. You know, like, he pretty much hires everybody with the fucking last name Hart. So, you know, he's been helping quite a few of these families. Somebody says, and that's why Road Dogg made more money than Bret Hart then, right? Right? Well, he didn't. We know he didn't. Come on. Somebody says, who is still wanting to talk to this man? Well, he's got a podcast. I'm telling you, giving wrestlers podcasts was as bad as giving them Twitter accounts. You could see their retardation just pumped into the atmosphere all the time. Just really solid content. Somebody says, no one ever said, I want to be a pro wrestler after watching a Road Dogg match. I don't think anybody... Road Dogg, him doing his poor man's Dusty Rhodes, which is the funniest shit in the world, because that's all he was doing. If you are in any way familiar with Dusty, you know that's all Road Dogg was doing, was just being a poor man's Dusty Rhodes. That's really all he was doing, man. And it's hilarious that other people don't see that. But that's all he was doing, man. Even going down to, and I'm going to go there, stealing pieces of black culture, which Dusty did a lot. Road Dogg did it too. But come on, man. It is what it is. Let's see. This man should not talk about being better than anyone at anything. This is what he thought money was in. And this is a picture of him humping X-Pac, which I forgot happened. This is sad. I guess him and X-Pac had a match, and he was doing the pump handle slam, and he got behind him and humped him, which is not Christian of him. What would God say about that? The Roadie was an apt name, given how many coattails this man rode in his career. Surely no one has ever said, gotta buy a ticket to see Road Dogg. Road Dogg inching ever closer to Booker T. Say anything to keep my name in people's mouths territory. Oh, you didn't know. Wait a minute. You can't diss Booker T. There will be no Booker T slander around here. Booker T is almost always right. He ain't saying what you want to hear, but he's not wrong. Booker T is not going to tell you what you want to hear. But that doesn't mean Booker T is wrong. All right. Here's another one. Agreed on the sports entertainment portion. Bret has zero charisma. I wouldn't say that. I always thought Owen had the whole package. He just never was pushed equally as Bret. But what Bret pushed equally as Bret was, but he could wrestle just as good, if not better, and had a character on screen. Better character on screen. I don't want to say Bret had zero charisma. Bret had charisma. It just wasn't the outlandish, loud kind of charisma. It's like some guys have quiet charisma, you know? And Bret was one of those guys where he was interesting without being loud and without being boisterous. And in some ways, what made him interesting is he was the guy who wasn't loud and boisterous amongst a bunch of guys who are loud and boisterous. You know, amongst guys like the Ultimate Warrior, who is like that's an absolute cartoon character running fast as fuck through the ring, and he's got muscles everywhere, and he's promos are just nonsensical and maniacal, and Hulk Hogan is out there, and he's got the Christian cross, and he's waving the flag, and let me tell you something, brother. And Jake the Snake Roberts is literally carrying a snake. And, you know, some guys are J.D. King Lawler's walking around with a crown on all the time. And then here comes Bret. The only thing is he's wearing pink. And everybody's like, what the fuck is this guy wearing pink? That's the only thing about him that really kind of stood out, you know? But he seemed like the normal guy outside of the pink than everybody else in the WWF at the time, which, you know, all of them were psychopaths. You had a literal zombie man running around at one point. And another guy who had red tips in his hair and was like clucking like a chicken or some shit. Those were weird times. You know, those were weird times that they had going on in the WWF at this particular juncture. All right, let's get back to the peanut gallery. Say, bruh, what the fuck? There are literally zero categories inside pro wrestling or not where Road Dogg is better than Bret Hart. Ooh. Jesus Christ. Somebody says, this is unquestionably the funniest thing I've ever read. Ooh-wee. Somebody said, say it to Bret's face. Well, Bret's had a stroke, and he's very old now. I don't think he'd actually fight Road Dogg. But I'm very interested in Bret Hart's response. Um, Somebody says, I thought that clip was on my Raw is in intro pot, not Raw is Nitro pot spot. When Rhodey said, I could do everything The Rock could do, and he just got the push over me because he had the look. Left me incredulous. Then he goes and spouts this shit? Did he really say I could do everything The Rock can do? He just got the push because he got a better look? And he probably wasn't on drugs. Oh, look, you gotta have confidence in this business, guy. But for Christ's sake, uh, he said I could. Him saying that he could have been The Rock is hilarious. I can't take that one. That one's killing me. Uh, Somebody says Bret didn't have a large personality, but he was 1,000% more interesting than Road Dogg, so that's funny. This is great. This is Bret Hart not a great wrestler. Bret's runs from 96 to 97 alone trumps most of Road Dogg's career. Well, I don't even think you need to use that. You can use Bret in 92, and that's probably stomping all over Road Dogg. You know, Road Dogg never did anything. It's so funny. God, the more angry people get, the funnier it is. Bret made money without having to leech off more talented acts. Ooh. Ooh, that's mean. Oh, that's mean. Oh, boy. Starting to wonder, man, why is he saying these things? And then I think about why. And somebody says, crack? I don't think he's on crack. I don't hope he's not on crack. I certainly hope he's not back on that shit. Okay. Let's see. Okay. For someone who routinely says stupid shit, it's incredible the Road Dogg, noted singles competitor and moneymaker, could even muster up the courage to say something so obscenely, baffingly stupid. Too funny. Not once in my life did Road Dogg sports entertain me more than Bret Hart, especially when I look back at 96 or 97. What was Road Dogg doing in 96? I think he was on a jobber on like the B shows, like Superstars and stuff. I don't think he was barely on TV. He was in the company, but I don't think he was doing anything. DX was in 98, if I remember correctly. The New Age Outlaws started in 97, but they weren't members of DX yet. But this is wild. This is some wild shit right here. This is both annoying and patently untrue. Daddy Ass got Road Dogg over, and even when he was over, I think everyone secretly hated him. He sucks. Bret rules. Case closed. No, Daddy Ass did not get Road Dogg over. Come on. Come on. If anything, it was the other way around. Road Dogg had he had the mic skills. He is the one who had the charisma. He was the one that got everything clicking. You know, Billy Gunn was another guy who was an also-ran. He had been in WWE since like the early 90s. I think the Smoking Guns were there in 93, maybe even earlier than that. And they broke him up. He was a dead leaf on a tree at that point. He ended up being fucking rockabilly. He had no future until he linked up with the Road Dogg. I think it's just a case of two guys who needed something. Billy was good in the ring, but didn't have a lot of charisma, a lot of personality. While Road Dogg had a lot of personality, but wasn't that great in the ring. And if you put them together in a tag team where one could do the shtick and the other one could do the work, everything worked out. You know, that's just kind of a good mixture of how that tag team worked. But people are very angry at Road Dogg, and they won't stop messing with him. So here's another one. Road Dogg is right. After Bret's NFT business, the Hitman clearly doesn't draw. His NFT business? Okay, but that was like NFTs, that shit wasn't gonna work out. But what the hell did that have to do with what Road Dogg is saying? Like, Literally, that had nothing to do with the Montreal screw job and nothing in relation to wrestling at all. I mean, you're talking about a guy who has been retired for 20 years before NFTs were even founded. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh, God. I can tell you this is probably some guy that's got some kind of personal vendetta against Bret because he thinks NFTs are destroying the environment or some retarded shit that these guys are coming up with. I don't know. Here's another one. I think there should be a law passed that when a wrestler reaches a certain age, nobody should ask them their opinion on anything. Does that include Mick Foley, who has all the right political opinions, but also has like spinal damage and all kind of other fucked up mental problems and shit? Or does that only apply to people you don't agree with? I have to ask that question. Not even the great wrestler part. We all know that's fucking stupid. But there are people who like to bring up the Mike Skills personality, like Bret. 1997 didn't happen. Okay. Bret, that motherfucker has lost his mind. He was lucky to be paired up with Billy Gunn and allowed to tag along with HBK, X-Pac, China, and Triple H. Must be on drugs. Must be. Well, they didn't formally join DX until Shawn was gone. Which they were pegged to be on there anyway, though. Somebody says, Road Dogg has bumped his head and lost his everlasting mind. Jesus Christ. Road Dogg is never going to live this one down. He's never going to live this one down, is he? This one's going to live forever. This is going to live for infamy, right? This is one of the most infamous comments, ever. Entertainer? Yes. Wrestler? No. And I didn't even have to care about Bret Hart. I was an HBA guy. Always. Somebody says, then why did Bret draw more money than him? Where's his world titles? Bret also wasn't begging for a job recently. Ooh. Oh, you didn't know? All the Armstrong family combined on their best day are not 10% as good of a sports entertainer as Bret was. Well, you have to watch Bullet Bob. Bullet Bob was pretty fucking good at that wrestling stuff, man. The pro wrestling shits. He was pretty good at it, man. I don't think he was might not have been the grappler Bret was. But Bullet Bob was beloved in places like Georgia for a reason. He always looked like an old man. So that he definitely wasn't going to make it on a national stage because he always looked like a grandpa. But Bullet Bob had charisma. He had fire and personality and stuff. So I'm not going to cape for Road Dogg, but I will cape for Bullet Bob. I'll cape for him. I'm not going to cape for his brother either, Brad. Brad was okay, but I think Brad was missing something. I think it might have been the personality. Like, Brad had the look that if Road Dogg had his brother's body, Road Dogg would have been the world champion. Absolutely. If Road Dogg looked like Brad and could talk like Road Dogg, talk like himself, he'd have been world champion. Absolutely. Because Brad looked great. He was a little small, but he looked great. He was in fantastic shape. Road Dogg has always looked sickly. Probably because he was doing fucking drugs all the time. I love how the only person that thinks like this is Road Dogg himself. Somebody says the retconning of sports entertainment as a business colloquialism into a term of that Vince McMahon co-opted to wiggle out of government regulations has twisted these dudes' brains. Either way, even by Road Dogg's criteria, Bret was better than you. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what this is supposed to mean. The retconning of sports entertainment as a business colloquialism instead of a term that Vince McMahon co-opted to wiggle out of government regulations. I think that the concept of sports entertainment always existed because you can go outside of pro wrestling and sports entertainment still exists. That's what And One is. That's what the Harlem Globetrotters was. It was sports entertainment. Roller derby, stuff like that, sports entertainment. Racing, sports entertainment. Billiards, stuff like that is sports entertainment. It's all sports entertainment. With the sports is entertainment. What the fuck? Come on. Defund podcasts, defund interviews, just stop talking to wrestlers altogether. Wow. Somebody says we need to start putting down these attitude era dudes. Wow, we need to start like taking behind the woodshed like old Yeller and just start like, it was a nice run. But of course we have to. I forgot about this. I can't believe I'm this far into this video before mentioning that this is probably politically motivated. A lot of the hate for Road Dogg. Now look, Road Dogg, he asked for this. But a lot of these people are definitely politically motivated. They think because they know Road Dogg is a Republican. So a lot of this is going to be stuff like that, him being an old Christian Republican and him getting donked on for that. But this is one of the few times where anything that they say about him is pretty legitimate. Why would you say this? Why would Road Dogg say that? Oh yeah, Bret was a great wrestler, but I think I was better than him at sports entertainment. Because no matter what you actually said, what people actually heard is, I'm better than Bret Hart. And everybody's going to go, ah! And they just start screeching like wild baboons and throwing shit, man. I mean, it just is what it is. He said a lot of words to try to cover his ass in vain. But at the end of the day, what is Road Dogg's opinion? It's worthless. Ooh. Oh, man. Somebody says, well, that's going to likely be the dumbest thing I'm going to read all day. And dear God, at least I hope so. What a completely ridiculous statement or position to hold. It'd be funny if it wasn't so completely delusional. Too long didn't read. Bret Hart rules. Wow. Laughing my ass off, lifelong jobber thinks he was better sports entertainer than a guy who carried his company for years as both babyface and a heel. Fuck out of here. You're right. He wasn't a great wrestler. He was the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. And you better believe it, Jack. Road Dogg should be arrested the next time he attempts to cross customs for this one. Brian James was a better sports entertainer than Bret Hart. Bret was very monotone. He was a good technical wrestler and could plan a great match, but his interviews were always the same thing. I've been watching wrestling since the 80s, and I felt he had no charisma. Wow. 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 I can't believe people actually say stuff like that Bret had no charisma. Come on. Coke and CTE doing its thing. Woo, boy. Coke and CTE. Why would people say stuff like this? Oh, man. Imagine being this delusional and not recognizing factual evidence that shows that Bret Hart, by himself, made more money in the business than Diggity Dogg, that is true. It is absolutely true. I can't believe Road Dogg even thinks that. Wait, what? He's looking for me to send a tweet like this so he wins. But something so phenomenally insane must be addressed. Mental illness. Oh, good Lord. Somebody posted a picture of Bret Hart's net worth, and somebody posted a picture of Road Dogg's net worth. And Googling people's net worth is probably not the best argument. It's not the argument you think it is. But we know that Bret, generally speaking, made more money than Road Dogg. I mean, that goes without saying, right? So let's see. Bro was literally just a carnival barker for people more over than him and thinks he's better than Bret fucking Hart. Unreal. Oof. Jesus Christ. Oh, boy. I swear Road Dogg has a public humiliation fetish. You guys got worked by the master. Now everyone is talking about the Road Dogg and saying that he fucking sucked and is a moron, which is exactly what he wanted to happen for some reason. Check and mate. Well, some people do apply the any attention is good attention. And I don't know what his podcast does in terms of ratings or whether it's a successful podcast or not. But I know him making comments like this ain't going to endear him to the audience to get people to listen to him. I can tell you that much. Uh, if anything, people are going to be like, what the hell he got going on over there? Road Dogg is literally one of the worst people to, quote, wrestle plus get into the industry. Like, he really thought he was great just because his signature move was dry humping people and being a kiss ass to DX. He was in DX. What are you talking about? Jesus fucking Christ, Road Dogg, no. You're not more entertaining than Bret Hart. You're not a better wrestler. You did not draw more money than Bret. I mean, just spitting straight facts right here. There's nothing wrong with this. Has he got CTE? Bret is the GOAT, and you cannot lace his boots. Man, those drugs really fucked up Road Dogg's brain. Triple H, come get your boy. He's using again. Oh, man. Oh, boy. That's kind of a low blow, don't you think? Imagine trying to draw money with Road Dogg as your main eventer. Dude is a lower mid-carder with a click stimulus. Ooh. That's crazy. That's crazy. And he still ended up on the outside, by the way. You know, he still got fired. I think he got fired in like 2000 or something. As the old carnies die off, it's good to know that there are still some continuing the old wrestling tradition of shamelessly lying for our entertainment. Please, just ignore them as you would a crazy man on the train. Wow. I know it's wrong to make fun of someone with an addiction, but I think Road Dogg is still doing drugs. How can he say that Bret Hart is not a great wrestler? I think he's just jealous that the Harts are better than the Armstrongs. Ugh, I don't want to go down that route. Oh boy. Worst wrestling take ever will never be topped. All wrestling discourse can stop now, and we can shut down this app. Well, I'm pretty sure that by the weekend, something stupider than this is going to be said. I'm pretty sure. Somebody says, and these old heads wonder why today's young wrestlers don't ask them for advice. Ooh. Well, Billy didn't say it, and he's the one saying the guys don't listen to him. Hey, Road Dogg, your CTE is showing. Like, did he supposed to pull up his zipper or something? Like, I don't. It's a shame to see the roadie on drugs again. There's so many drug comments here. Jesus Christ. I've seen bad takes, but this is fucking rotten. In what world is Road Dogg better than Bret Hart at anything? Somebody says you have a catchphrase. That's all. Yeah, come on. He had a little bit more than a catchphrase. He had a little bit more. He had a whole shtick. Road Dogg was over for maybe 2 years. By the time WWE fired him for being a shitty person and a drug addict, his value was 0. Wow. Oh, for someone with dog in his name, they certainly don't got it in them. Oh, wow. Oh, why would you do that? Why would you say that? Why would you say that? Nigga had an entrance. That's it. Not one Road Dogg match is a classic. Road Dogg don't have DX and nobody cares about him. Hunter, HBK, Six, Billy, China, Rick Rude, etc. can all exist without ever doing anything DX related. Rody cannot. I don't know about Billy. What is Billy's legacy outside of DX? It's Billy and Chuck. It's Smoking Guns. And now Scissor Me with the Acclaimed. And let's see, Billy and Chuck doesn't happen if he doesn't have New Age Outlaws, because he probably wouldn't have been in the company anymore. Because Rockabilly is such a bad gimmick, he probably would have went to prison for robbing a bank or something like that. Anything to get away from that fucking gimmick. Has Road Dogg ever had a good take ever in his life or career? Jesus Christ. Somebody says, please tell me this fat fucking slob is joking. Wow. He gotta be a fat slob. What the fuck? Fuck balls, Jiminy shit, Chris. I can't make heads or tails of that one. Road Dogg should be immediately disqualified from speaking into a microphone. Scratch that, speaking publicly again after this. Oh, man. Oh, boy. Man. These people are so angry, man. All right, it's time to wrap it up, but I want to find one more. I want to find one more to end on. So let's see if we can find one more dunk on Road Dogg to end on. All right, this one's pretty good. Road Dogg wasn't a better entertainer than Bret. He did the same Michael Buffer gimmick infringement every night, and his matches sucked. Bret brought realism and believability to everything he did. If Road Dogg thought Bret wasn't entertaining, he should have laid off the drugs, pal. And that one wasn't a good crescendo, but it was a pretty good one. Cue Triple H gaslighting for another one of his buddies and making them more important than they actually were. Ooh. The Kmart version of Woody Harrelson said, what? Oh, Woody Harrelson. Oh, man. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, holy shit. Discount Randy Quaid is so diluted. Why people keep comparing this man to washed up actors? Oh Lord. Oh, I hate putting WWE on the timeline, but in no way, shape, or form was Brian James better than Bret Hart at anything. This is no talent, no charisma. MAGA chud wasn't even the best part of his own tag team, where for a year and a half he was only over with the teens for yelling "suck it." Oh man, Road Dogg was the 5th coolest person in a 5-man stable. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. I'm dying over here, man. I'm sweating. Like I've been sweating for like 10 minutes. Cause this shit is hilarious, man. These dudes killing me, man. They really, really fucking with Road Dogg. Oh, here we go. You were nothing more than a clown. You copied what you thought was cool, black people. There was nothing unique or original about you. I'll give you the phrase, I got 2 words for you, suck it. But that's not even yours, Brian. You boxing with legends. That was never your card. I don't know what that meant. Never your card. I don't know about that. But he did borrow from my beautiful black brothers and sisters. But it's okay. It's all right, buddy. I ain't mad at you. Some people are rightfully noting that this is bait, but it's something. To this day, almost every pro wrestler and every fan of a certain age can tell you if they were Team Bret or Team Shawn. People still have Bret sunglasses. No one has Road Dogg middle-aged white man cornrows. He wasn't middle-aged at the time, though. Oh God. Why do so many guys who were good on the mic call themselves sports entertainers? I don't think they fully understand what a sports entertainer is. I'm pretty sure he has a better idea of what a sports entertainment is but I think what they do is they focus on the promos and the character, which is what they were good at. It's just, I don't know, man. People get too tripped up over the word sports entertainment. But if your definition of a sports entertainer is, quote, making 13-year-olds chant along with a bunch of juvenile sex and drug references, then yes, Road Dogg was miles above Bret. Wow. Okay, we gotta wrap it up at some point. I mean, I'm trying to make sure we don't miss out on anything that was too funny. So I'm continuing to scroll. But man, there's just so many dunks. There's a few people who are saying that Bret was boring. Somebody called him a boring ass Canadian. But most people seem to be offended on Bret Hart's behalf. And I absolutely cannot wait for Bret's response. Bret's response is going to be a thing of absolute beauty. And I can tell you he's probably going to really hurt Road Dogg's feelings. But until then, we'll have to call it a day. Thank you for your time. Like, share, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.